They handcuffed a Black SEAL sniper in court. Then a 4-star general entered, and everyone froze. The imposing figure of the black sniper stood silently in the dock, his head held high despite the handcuffs that shackled his wrists. His dark skin complexed with the harsh fluorescent lighting of the courtroom, casting dramatic shadows across his face. He was a Navy SEAL, an elite soldier, yet here he was accused of a crime that could land him behind bars for the rest of his life. As the trial commenced, whispers rippled through the hushed courtroom. The all-white jury exchanged glances, their expressions a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. The white prosecutor, a sharp-tongued legal eagle, painted a damning picture of the black sniper, portraying him as a cold-blooded killer devoid of empathy. Cameras flashed and reporters scribbled furiously, each seeking the most sensational angle to dominate the headlines. Witnesses recanted their testimonies. Evidence was deemed inadmissible. And slowly but surely the narrative shifted. The stakes were high. If found guilty, the black sniper's reputation, his legacy, would be tarnished forever. The courtroom erupted in pandemonium. Cameras flashed frantically, capturing the historic moment. In contrast, the defense attorney, a seasoned lawyer with a silver tongue, passionately argued that his client was a victim of circumstance, a decorated war hero who had seen more combat than most soldiers twice his age. But as the celebrations outside the courthouse reached a crescendo, a chilling discovery sent shockwaves through the crowd. It was innocuous enough, wrapped in brown paper and tied with a simple string. Yet it held within it the potential to change everything. As he knocked on the heavy wooden door, he had no idea that the contents of that package would soon unravel a web of deceit, betrayal, and danger that would threaten to consume everyone involved. He picked it up, his gaze scanning the room to see if anyone had left it there intentionally. When he saw no one claiming ownership, he decided to investigate. But now, with the jury's not guilty verdict, his plans had been thrown into disarray. His demeanor was relaxed, almost nonchalant, belying the storm of emotions that raged within him. He explained the situation, outlining the need for the sniper's assistance in retrieving the package from the courthouse. The sniper didn't hesitate. Loyalty and duty were second nature to him. Outside the courtroom, the media circus reached a fever pitch. He knew what was at stake, not just for him, but for everyone involved. The sniper's mission was clear: retrieve it, safeguard it, and ensure it reached the designated recipient. He knew that there were eyes watching him, waiting for him to make a move. There was an exchange of glances, a silent acknowledgement of the events that had just transpired. He was not just a soldier returning to the battlefield. He was a warrior, reclaiming his honor, his dignity. The black sniper froze, his ears perked, listening intently. He knew that whatever happened next would have profound implications, not just for him, but for the entire military community. The voice was authoritative, laced with an urgency that demanded attention. Yet here he was in the heart of a courthouse, caught in a web of deceit and danger. His chest, adorned with numerous medals and ribbons, bore silent witness to his bravery and sacrifice. The bailiff couldn't help but feel a surge of respect for the stoic soldier. The sniper met his stare head-on, his silence speaking volumes of his courage and resilience. He demanded an explanation, a reason for the sniper's presence in the heart of the courthouse. He explained his mission, the need to retrieve a critical package from the very core of the judicial system. This was personal, a battle against those who sought to tarnish his name, his very essence. Then the general spoke, his voice a low growl that resonated with power and authority. He was not one to be intimidated, not one to back down from a challenge. There was a hint of respect in his tone as he gave the order. It was a simple directive, yet it carried the weight of trust, of belief. However, as the trial dragged on, cracks began to appear in the prosecution's case. He knew that among them were enemies, those who had orchestrated this intricate game of deceit and danger. But then came the bombshell. He had to retrieve the package, whatever the cost, and bring it back to the general. As the sniper moved deeper into the courthouse, he felt a growing sense of urgency. He knew that time was of the essence. He peeked through the slightly ajar door, his eyes scanning the room. But he pressed on, laying out the details, hoping to gain the upper hand. He was a soldier first, a warrior at heart, and he would not let them break him. A new witness came forward with an airtight alibi. placing the black sniper miles away from the crime scene at the time of the incident. Suddenly, the sniper spotted movement in one of the rooms ahead. His instincts took over. The sniper knew he had been discovered. A tense standoff ensued. He highlighted the gravity of the situation, the intricate dance of danger that they were all navigating. The general was known for his unwavering commitment to justice, his sharp intellect, and his no-nonsense approach to challenges. The room, illuminated by the sudden intrusion, revealed the full extent of the prosecutor's treachery. The courtroom erupted in gasps. Could this be the end of the prosecution's case? It was a familiar weight, a comforting presence in the midst of chaos. He spotted a gun on the table, a silent threat that added another layer to this deadly game. As the sniper grasped the gun, he turned toward the prosecutor. In the midst of this legal maelstrom, a mysterious figure remained unmoved, impassive. He was the one they called El Jefe, a shadowy figure with connections that ran deep in both the military and political realms. He was the architect of the deceit, the mastermind behind the plot. Oh, this wasn't just a battle of wits anymore. This was personal, a duel of wills. He had anticipated the sniper's move, setting this final trap with meticulous care. The prosecutor's eyes gleamed with a mix of fear and determination. He wasn't backing down, not when victory was within reach. The general had arrived, and with his presence, the stakes had just been raised. He knew that there was no turning back, that the path ahead was fraught with danger. The prosecutor, his bravado gone, was led away in handcuffs, his head hung low. He acknowledged the sniper's bravery, commending him for his loyalty and courage. He attempted to justify his actions, but his words fell on deaf ears. The general's arrival brought a sense of order to the chaos, a reminder of the larger forces at play. His duty was to the mission, to the greater good, and he had fulfilled it. They had faced down enemies together, both external and internal, and they had triumphed. The standoff continued, the tension mounting with each passing second. Their eyes met, and the sniper's blood ran cold. He informed the bailiff about the package found in the courtroom, emphasizing its importance in the ongoing investigation. As the trial reached its climax, the judge charged the jury with a solemn responsibility to deliver a verdict based solely on the evidence presented, urging them to resist any temptation to succumb to prejudice or public pressure. It was the four-star general, his presence commanding respect and obedience. In the end, it was a unanimous decision, a resounding not guilty. And in the midst of it all, the black sniper stood tall, his head held high, his eyes filled with gratitude for the jury's unwavering commitment to justice. Tucked away in a secluded part of the courtroom, hidden from the prying eyes of the media and spectators, lay a small package. As the court session ended, the bailiff, a burly man with a no-nonsense demeanor, noticed the package lying unattended. With the package in hand, he made his way to the judge's chambers, puzzled by the mystery of its presence in the courtroom. Meanwhile, in a lavishly appointed office on the top floor of the courthouse, El Jefe sat calmly sipping a cup of coffee. He had orchestrated this entire trial, pulling strings in the shadows to ensure the black sniper's conviction. As the bailiff entered the judge's chambers, his eyes fell on the black sniper standing beside the judge. But before he could voice his thoughts, the judge spoke, his voice grave. Now the judge turned to the black sniper, his expression serious. In a swift, fluid motion, the black sniper moved towards the door, his steps purposeful, his eyes focused. The package was of utmost importance, a potential game-changer that could rewrite the entire narrative of the trial. As the black sniper navigated the labyrinthine corridors of the courthouse, he remained alert, his senses heightened. He moved with the precision and grace of a seasoned operative, his every step laden with purpose and control. He had stared down the barrel of death in combat zones, faced enemies who sought to break him. As he moved through the shadows, he could feel their gazes upon him, their expectations heavy in the air. But he didn't falter. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the corridor, cutting through the tense silence like a shard of glass. It was the voice of a four-star general, an icon of authority and power within the military hierarchy. He was the epitome of military excellence, a man whose reputation preceded him, commanding respect and obedience from all who came in contact with him. As the black sniper stood there, frozen in anticipation, Could feel the weight of the general's presence like a physical force pressing down on him. The black sniper stood ramrod straight, his posture a testament to his years of military training. He was a decorated war hero, his deeds of valor echoing through the annals of military history. As the general approached, the sniper's gaze remained fixed, his eyes unwavering. The general stopped before him, his gaze penetrating, leaving no room for evasion or falsehoods. There was a long moment of stillness, broken only by the pounding of their hearts. He addressed the sniper directly, his words leaving no room for misinterpretation. The sniper responded, his voice measured, his words carefully chosen. As he spoke, he could sense the general's skepticism, the disbelief that tinged the air between them. He spoke of the importance of the package, the potential ramifications if it fell into the wrong hands. The general listened intently, his expression unreadable. He weighed the sniper's words, trying to discern the truth from the deception that had become so prevalent. Finally, the general nodded, acknowledging the sniper's explanation. He instructed the sniper to proceed, to retrieve the package and bring it to him. The sniper saluted, his movements crisp and precise. He turned and disappeared into the maze of corridors, leaving the general standing tall amidst the sea of faces. The general surveyed the crowd, his gaze sharp, his eyes missing nothing. He would find them, expose them, and bring them to justice. Every second counted, every heartbeat echoing the ticking of a bomb. The fate of many, perhaps even the nation, rested on his shoulders, and he would not fail. He moved swiftly, silently, becoming a predator in the shadows, stalking his prey. What he saw made him freeze. Inside the room was the package, sitting innocently on a table. But it wasn't just the package. Beside it stood a figure cloaked in darkness, his back to the sniper, his presence exuding danger. The sniper and the shrouded figure remained motionless, locked in a silent battle of wills. The air crackled with tension, the silence deafening. Then, as if sensing the sniper's presence, the figure turned. It was the white prosecutor from the trial. The prosecutor's face was twisted into a cruel smile, his eyes gleaming with triumph. The sniper, taken aback by the sudden turn of events, quickly recovered. He knew that hesitation could cost him everything. In a split-second decision, he burst through the door, ending the charade. The sniper's eyes narrowed, his gaze sweeping across the room. He moved swiftly, lunging for the gun, his fingers brushing against its cold surface. He had faced down enemies with this kind of weapon countless times, and he wouldn't falter now. Their eyes locked, and a silent understanding passed between them. The prosecutor, sensing the shift in power, stood his ground, his smile widening. The sniper took a deep breath, steeling himself for what was to come. He was a soldier, a warrior, and he wouldn't yield. The sniper's finger tightened on the gun's trigger, ready to strike. Suddenly a voice boomed through the room, shattering the silence. He stood at the door, his gaze sharp, his eyes missing nothing. This wasn't just a personal vendetta. This was a battle between justice and treachery, between truth and deceit. As the general stepped further into the room, the prosecutor's facade crumbled. The general, his face etched with disappointment, ordered the prosecutor's arrest. It was swift and decisive, leaving no room for argument. The tables had turned, and the hunter had become the hunted. The general then turned to the sniper, his gaze softening. The sniper, his face stoic, simply nodded. As the room emptied, the general and the sniper stood side by side, united in their purpose. The ordeal was over, but the memory of it would serve as a reminder, a testament to the sacrifices they made and the battles they won.